We are doing an interview, an introduction to Graeme. And today we're going to talk about what he does and what he's passionate about and why it works really well with Taika Blossom and what we're working on collaborating to be able to offer and invite people into things that we're really excited about. Why don't you talk about what you do and what you've done to get you to the place that you're at right now in the work that you do.
So I work at the Environmental Nature Center. This is a nature center in Newport Beach, close to where I live. And I work with children where we do outdoor education. We hang out, we do hikes, we learn all about the soil, science, environmental science, and lots of other fun activities to basically get their hands dirty and enjoy being outside in nature and learning through hands-on education. I started working there after I completed my psychology degree at Cal State Long Beach. I really enjoyed working with people. I wanted to keep working with people, but didn't want to keep working in the traditional psychology field. And so I found working at the Nature Center being a way that I could help and educate others in a way that felt more true to me and more fun to me as well.
Okay, so you have your bachelor's in psychology.
Yes.
And then you have your certificate in horticulture.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At Orange Coast College, I have my
Okay.
certificate of horticulture.
Okay.
Orange Coast College, I love going there. After I completed my psychology bachelor's, I felt like I still wanted to keep going to school. I was working landscaping and then at the Nature Center, and I decided to start going back to school after work. And so I was taking afternoon classes at Orange Coast College, and I really enjoyed it and just kept going semester after semester, and I'm on the path to completing every class they have, but I got that certificate of horticulture last semester, and I love it. I love being in the world of horticulture.
Okay, great. So, why are you interested? Why do you find horticulture valuable, and what are you hoping that you can share with people to find value in when it comes to horticulture, psychology, therapeutic horticulture, those things that you're really passionate about and pursuing and educating yourself about, and are definitely very, very passionate about it by how you talk about it. So can you kind of talk about those, the psychology, the horticulture therapy, those things that you're wanting to create?
Yeah, and so psychology is a very new emerging field in general. Psychology, we learn about all these different therapies. We always hear about taking care of our mental health, and I think sometimes doing simple tasks like gardening or just being outside in nature is a very therapeutic thing to do. Doesn't require a lot of money. You just need to walk outside and enjoy your nature around you. You can literally walk down your street and observe some of the trees around you, and it's a very nice way to spend your day. Doesn't cost any money, and it's just a great way to be healthy and take care of yourself.
So it seems like you are really interested in the sciences of psychology, the sciences of horticulture, that are within, like horticulture is connected to gardening, psychology is connected to therapy, and like you were talking about, like mental health and those types of things, but you work with kids, and so why do you value the scientific aspects, but when it comes to actually creating a space for people to experience it, it's a space that kids can hang out.
So I would say for me personally, I enjoy the scientific aspects of it. I feel like it helps me better understand the world around me, the plants that I'm working with. But at the same time, I believe many of us, especially the kids, are able to learn through hands-on education. So like I said, at the nature center I work at, there's a lot of hands-on activities that we do there. And for a lot of kids, that really helps that information stick in their mind. And I think for a lot of us adults, we could also benefit from that as well, just learning about the nature around us through hands-on activities like gardening or potting up a plant, anything like that.
And what would you say to an adult who maybe like, is this like what's the value of having a space that kids can hang out for adults to be a part of that?
So I think us as adults have a lot to learn from kids. Even though we see ourselves as very different, I think there's a lot of similarities there. And there are adults that come into our nature center all the time, and they'll ask me all these questions about the plants that we have and the nature around us. And I can tell a lot of people get really excited to learn about those things. And it's almost like a form of nostalgia for a lot of them. And also, like I said, just a great way to get outside, enjoy the world around you, and just to appreciate all the life that is literally growing around us every day.
So you've mentioned before around feeling like having an impact or helping the environment or the weight of the things that are the big picture that you see that really bother you. So what are the main things that really bother you that you see within like our society and maybe the world at large, and like what would you say are like the 2 or 3 main things that you see as like these really big problems?
So I would say that the problems that I see with are usually the way that people think about these different issues. I remember working at the landscape company and other places, other people I've talked to, and they basically just believe that there's nothing we can really do to help our environment and that we're just on a path to destruction and just continued destruction, which definitely is what it looks like right now, but I don't think that means that we're completely hopeless and there's nothing that we can do. I always believe that just connecting to nature, especially at a younger age, like for a lot of these kids, but I don't think it requires you to be a younger age to appreciate nature around you and want to take care of it. And so I think just being around nature, wanting to take care of it is so important to be able to actually do something about it and want to care.
So tell us one of the main things that drives or fuels the work that you do.
One of the things that really motivates me is how people view nature right now. I personally have seen a lot of people feel as if they're separate from nature, and I want to help encourage people to remember that you are actually a part of nature. Like your body is literally made from nature. It's a natural process that your body goes through. And so this idea that we are separate from nature and that we live in a city and that nature is out in like some field or forest or wherever you may go or believe nature to be, that's actually not true. Like we're literally a part of nature. And so I really want to help people like change the way they think about that. I want people to realize that yes, you are a part of nature, and if you don't believe that you're a part of nature, then you feel as if things like soil or the trees around you you aren't one with those things. One of the things that I noticed that helps explain this is people have like a weird relationship with like maybe like soil. So, like we have some soil in front of us, and a lot of people don't like to touch soil, and they think, especially I notice this with the kids at the nature center, is they like touch soil and their hands are dirty, and they're like, oh, like I need to go wash my hands now. And so I'll be like, no, like you're okay, like soil's not gonna hurt you, like why don't you, play with it a little bit more, and like if you really don't like it, you can come back to me later and tell me how you feel. And after a while of playing in the soil, they usually are enjoying it, or they get over it pretty soon. And I think a lot of adults don't like to get dirty either. We don't like to, our hands to be all dirty, but I think that getting your hands dirty is actually a really beneficial process for your mental health.
Yeah. And so thinking about kids being like, oh, that's dirty, or the soil being such an unfamiliar thing, and then you saying that we are nature, I think a result of our separation from nature has contributed to that kind of awkward and or even a negative connotation with interacting with nature.
Yeah.
Right? So like what are some of the other results of that separation of humans from nature? What are some other results that you've noticed other than feeling weird about having dirt on their hands, and even for adults and for kids?
Yeah, and so I think some of the more like serious consequences of us feeling separate from nature are that we think of like trees, plants, all of the things that we're so used to having as disposable and like an unlimited resource, when in reality, yes, there are lots of trees in the world, but it's not like we can just continue at the rate that we're going at. And I think when people are more connected to nature, they're more likely to want to take care of it, they're more likely to want to respect it and appreciate it, because they have realized how much something like a tree has taken care of them, and so they're like, why would I want to go cutting down a bunch of trees when they do so much for us? So
Yeah. Can you share one or two examples that you've experienced that interaction with nature and how it's impacted you and your day and your life just from those times that you've interacted with nature?
So what I like to do now, ever since I joined this world of horticulture and nature and all of that fun stuff, is I enjoy just walking around and looking at trees and identifying them. That was one thing that I learned in school. And so I feel like just a few years ago I would be walking around in a park and just pass by a tree or something like that. And now I feel like I stop at almost every single tree and I like look at it and try to like identify it or see if there's any like bugs or squirrels or something like that going on in there. And it really helps you realize that even in like a suburb or an urban area, that there really is so much life going around at all times.
Okay, so you were talking about the awkwardness of touching soil, the awkwardness of interacting that kids have and that adults have with nature, how you doing horticulture and learning all these more things about nature causing you to notice nature more and want to identify it, and it just really broadening your perspective and your experience in your day of awareness of nature all around. And that leads to animals, like you said, where I notice squirrels now and all these different things.
Yeah.
So from that, why do you think that it's important for humans? What are results of humans interacting with nature more?
So humans that interact with nature more, I think they have more of a like mutual respect with nature. They understand all the things that nature does for us, and I think they just feel a little bit more like included in the world around them and the nature around them. And I think it's just really important for us to be able to do that, because if we're not able to respect the nature around us, then we are just feeling as if it's a disposable, like I said, like a disposable resource, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of the earth, and rather than just continuing to abuse it, because like I said, the earth takes care of us, and people that realize that are more likely to be able to respect the earth.
And what's really interesting as you were talking, what I was thinking about is even between a human relationship, when there is like not a relationship with, not an understanding or an education about, then it really impacts the relationship, and like there becomes a dehumanizing of a human being, and so then they're not treated well.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the not dehumanizing of nature, but
Yeah.
a little bit kind of,
Yeah.
where I don't have a relationship with that. There's no relationship to be had.
Yeah.
There's not a mutual dependence, like relationship being something mutually beneficial, because the earth is suffering because of how we're interacting with it.
Mm-hmm.
Our lack of interaction with it, seeing that like interaction being touching the soil, touching a tree, knowing the difference of this tree from that tree, knowing nature, so that therefore we don't have a relationship with nature. So nature's suffering because of it, because it actually needs our hands and our care.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, how nature's always taking care of us,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't take care of nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's a majority of people, I don't think that it's their fault or their choice. They're just within this system that doesn't take care of nature.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's why I'm really excited about what we're working on, because the types of classes that you're developing are to create spaces of what is the main goal in the spaces that you're wanting to create for people.
Just like a community and a sense of like connectedness to nature. Like what you were saying reminds me of just how we're all, connected. No one's better than anyone else, and all of us have our own place in this earth. And so I think people that, understand that and, spend time in nature a little bit more, maybe understand that a little bit better, that we're all connected and we all need each other, and there's all these different processes that are keeping us going, and without one of us, it can lead to a series of other events. So we all have to do our part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited. There's so much in every single thing that Graeme said, and the workshops and that you're already developing, and that the ones that you have connect so much with the space that Tiger Blossom wants to create for people, which is all about nurturing healthy relationships. So Tiger Blossom classes is nurturing a healthy relationship with yourself, and checking in with yourself, and being able to have an understanding that you have the ability to show up for yourself every day. You choose to show up for yourself or not. And Tiger Blossom helps that. And then with the classes and workshops that Graeme does and that we'll collaborate on, it's then building that relationship with our true home, which is the earth, and what so many people refer to as our mother, the earth, that is always taking care of us, and we don't treat her very well. And the interconnectedness of us with ourselves, us with the earth, and then something that you mentioned was community with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be able to treat each other better when we start treating ourselves better, and the earth helps show us how to care. As soon as we water something, it grows, right? Like there's so much wisdom in building a relationship with the earth, and that because, like you said, we're not separate from nature, we are nature, so we actually are disconnected from our life source when we are so separate. But being able to know how to plant and grow and eat and grow our own food and grow our own herbs and grow these things it's not just for us to consume. You develop a relationship with the soil and with the earth, and then you learn about native plants and not native plants, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And so that's where Graeme has a wealth of knowledge and is still continuing so much because it's never ending. It's just rich on rich on rich on rich on rich. And so, but what I really love about what you do is you really keep things so simple. And we don't have to overcomplicate things. And I think that this little guy that we have right here is a perfect little example. So do you want to talk about what this is and how it happened? You can even bring it up to the camera.
Little Thai basil. I don't know if you can see it that well, hopefully. But this is, Thai basil. I enjoy growing Thai basil because here in Southern California we get a lot of sun, and most basil plants like a lot of sun. And so I put it in the windowsill. I just threw a seed down, and all of a sudden it started to grow.
From a seed?
From a seed, yeah. Just watered it every once in a while and waited for it, and eventually it popped up.
And how long did it take?
I want to say we noticed a little sprout probably, like a weekend maybe? Something like that? Probably noticed the tiniest little sprout about a weekend, and what emerged from that tiny little sprout was the cotyledon.
That's a word that I can never remember.
Fun word we've been talking about lately. And eventually I just kept giving it water, and it's slowly starting to sprout more and more. And so just an example of how it can be fun to just try something new, try some new projects, and see what happens. And so doing these hands-on experiments for me personally is really beneficial. It's really fun. And sometimes I'll write things down in my journal, different things that I notice. And it's just a fun way to just notice like what's happening around you and little things that are growing all the time. So.
Yeah. So learning how to plant seeds is part of the workshops that you're developing, but the very first one, that's the first step, because baby steps are the most powerful steps. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit, but the first one is a pot a little bit bigger than this, some already made soil from the store, and then some succulents. And why is that the first step? And then maybe you can talk about the baby steps and then just kind of... Yeah.
Well, for me, succulents I think are like one of the best first steps because they are like so easy to grow. They really don't require much. I remember when I first started getting into plants, which was really not that long ago, like probably only like 3 years ago, I had a coworker and I was telling him I wanted to learn how to grow, and he ripped off a piece of a succulent that he found and shoved it into the worst pot of soil that he could find. And all of a sudden I brought it home and I just gave it water every once in a while, and it started to grow. And I went from feeling like I could never keep a plant alive to all of a sudden being like, oh, I just propagated that myself. And so...
It's like a first date.
Yeah.
It's a first date with the earth.
And so from there, I feel like I really felt more like confident in my abilities to grow something, which seemed like such an impossible task before. And so personally I think succulents are way more simple than growing from seeds, although it depends. But I just found succulents to be so easy to grow, indoor, outdoor. As long as they have a little bit of water, usually they're okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Succulents are a good first step from from where we're coming from. Oh my gosh, I touched the dirty dirt. I don't know. It's very awkward. You don't have any relationship with the earth. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not even going to try. And this is all about creating space of the beautiful process of trying. And look at how resilient the earth is. Rip that succulent, shove it in some, and it will reward you for watering it. And so it's from our like convenient, low maintenance, high return of investment quickly, the succulent will meet you there. Earth will meet you there.
Yep.
And then, but then it's like a couple of different workshops, and then you go here, because to ask people to do this and to wait a week for
Just to see
one
the
sprout,
tiniest little, yeah.
we know nobody in this space has the time or the patience or the value for waiting a week for throwing set for this tiny little thing. This has been like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But
Maybe more
when,
than that.
yeah, but when you've slowed down enough and joined in with the pace of nature, which is actually what your body actually needs, and your biology and all of that stuff actually needs to slow down to this pace. Once you do that, then the amount of joy that has been experienced with this on the windowsill, and we're not even eating anything from it. So,
Yeah.
willing to wait, willing to be patient, enjoying the process. And this is a perfect example of what happens with Tiger Blossom when you start watering yourself and taking care of yourself, the little things at Tiger Blossom, then you will start to enjoy these little things that start to grow and heal and new life, things that you haven't been watering that are already inside of you, and you start to enjoy that. And so that's why it all just works together, you know?
Well, for me, it becomes like a routine. Like every day I come back home and I like look at my little sprout and I say, oh, does it need water? And so it's something that originally was like a nuisance, like 3 years ago when I had to take care of plants, it's like a nuisance, and now it just becomes part of my daily routine, and I look forward to it every single day. So.
And, yeah. Yay. Well, that's all. I think we'll end it there, because we could go talking on for hours on end.
Yes.
So we'll just make more videos in the future, but
Yes.
no, you don't have to sit and wait for one long video. But we hope that you, you know, will come and try this, because we've found such value and richness in it, and we're excited to share it and hope that people will find just as much value in it. So we're going to have the first workshop, local workshop. So, but you can visit my Instagram is going to get you the most up to date, and the website, and but just stay tuned and keep your eye out for when workshops are happening, and we're going to start bringing them available online too, so you can do them from your own home. So we're excited.
Yeah.